What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker.
Amir,
And today on The Great Debaters, Digable Planets. Alright, Amir, so we're back here on The Great Debaters. As always, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It's right down there and it's free. That enables us to keep coming to y'all as often as possible with as many interviews, episodes of The Great Debaters, and commentaries as possible here on Unique Access Entertainment. So please hit that subscribe button right down there. Right next to it, of course, is the join button. So if you haven't already, please join us and become a member of Unique Access Entertainment. Supporting us that way really helps the cause in many, many ways. So, if you have already done it, we really greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't, please consider joining so we can get up, and up to the number one spot. Now, Amir, for The Great Debaters, we talk about a lot of great albums, a lot of great producers, a lot of great groups. Digable Planets, man, reaching a new refutation of time and space. That word is always intriguing to me, so sometimes I mess it up. But for Reachin, came out in 1993, debut album, Digable Planets, 3 people, 2 dudes, a woman. Phenomenal group, great trio, Butterfly, Doodle, and Ladybug. So, what were your initial thoughts getting into Digable Planets?
Yeah, I thought the names, just like what you mentioned, were all very interesting. Like Doodlebug, I didn't know that was a real thing until I looked it up on Google. Ladybug Mecca, I just thought the names in Butterfly, I just thought it was very odd to name yourself after these things, particularly like the Butterfly and the Doodlebug I thought were more interesting. But anyways, I'd first heard them before I knew it was them. I'd heard like Rebirth is Slick Cool Like That. I'd heard it, I honestly think I heard it like on TV, like a commercial, but I could be very wrong. But if I recall, that's where I first heard it. Okay. And I definitely heard it elsewhere, like on the radio and stuff, before I bought the album. But yeah, that was my initial intros to them. And let's go ahead and get into one of my first picks, which is a single, and that would be Where I'm From. So Where I'm From, which I had heard that once I bought the album as well. So Rebirth is Slick Cool Like That was kind of just years before I listened to the album. And then I listened to the album and I was like, oh, okay. So Where I'm From, my first pick, one of the singles. I really, really, really enjoyed it. And also, to kind of give a little context here, I first heard it when I was in college, and I was studying sociology at the time. And one of the theorists in sociology was Karl Marx. So I also really enjoyed a lot of his theories, as well as just, I thought he wrote excellently. So when I was listening to this, and then they said, we be reading Marx where I'm from, I was like, oh, so am I. I'm reading Marx right now. Literally. So I thought that was awesome. I have the CD single right here, and I really, really, really like the sonics of the track. I think the production really on this whole album is awesome. I mean, they use jazz and their samples quite well, and up to this point, I mean, there's some of the best who've done it. I mean, we had people like Gangster who were doing it, we had people like Tribe Called Quest who were doing it, among others, and I thought Digable Planets just excellent work. So Where I'm From, I really enjoyed the sonics. I really like how the beat kind of it started off more silent and then it kind of build it up, and then it just kicked in. I like how all the artists just rap differently, and then it's just a really, really, really dope track that I just kept playing over and over, and then I remember watching the video as well. But one thing I also want to mention with the single, and this is kind of what me and Soren have been saying throughout the years here, and we love you all, so we want to put you guys on in case you guys missed anything. But aside from the obvious remixes that the singles usually boast, this one also has a track on here that didn't make the album called Cauliflower Spidiox Go West. And it says right here, bonus track available only on CD. So it's these are songs that maybe a lot of people who bought the album back in the 90s did not hear. Yeah. So check that one out. Pretty dope song. Surprised it didn't make the album. But yeah, another reason why to check out singles. But Where I'm From, awesome single. Check out that extra track. That's my first pick. What's yours?
Where I'm From is also one of my picks. As Amir discussed, the production on here is just brilliant. And Butterfly, as the primary producer, he's got some co-production help, as noted in the liner notes. But Butterfly, man, like the beats throughout this whole album, just front to back, top to bottom, Reachin is just filled with great production. And where I'm from, also a big theme of it, they do use the break beats, or Butterfly uses the break beats a lot, but on top of that, the drums are very, very prominent, dominant, and very heavy. And I think it works well when juxtaposed against, Butterfly, Doodle, and Ladybug's voices, because their voices, especially Doodle at times, but obviously Ladybug, they're more higher pitched voices. So Where I'm From is a good example of this, especially Ladybug's verse, and Doodlebug's in particular, but they're like higher voice with the heaviness. I think it was a good kind of match, and it worked really well sonically. And then with Butterfly's verse, I just like how he and, well, really all three, but they would blend in like some of Marx, some of Islam, some of these different influences they had that we were getting at in rap at the time. But as we'll see throughout the whole Reachin album, there's a lot of talk about philosophy and intellectualism and different types of thought than are the primary ones that we're taught here in the United States. So I appreciated that as someone like Amir that was reading different things in college and seeing different perspectives from the main ones that we're given in our traditional school system. I really enjoyed it and appreciated the fact that Butterfly, of course, is the driving force of that, but then Doodle has a lot of stuff with Islam in particular. But I was glad to see and hear that throughout Reachin, because I think it gives a different perspective. And one of the main things that as I grew older and listened to more and more rap and got into more stuff and just started interviewing artists and meeting artists and doing all this stuff, is appreciating the different perspectives that people have. And I think Reachin really does a great job of that. Where I'm From does a great job of that. And I think the three members of Digable Planets being from three different areas really, I think, was also a good combination, because they all had different backgrounds, different perspectives. You got two men, you got a woman. There's just a lot of differences. So Where I'm From, phenomenal song. Love it. What's your second pick on Reachin, Amir?
Second pick is going to be the song that I was just talking about. That is Rebirth of Slick Cool Like That. Had to pick that. I mean, single right here and right here. Awesome song. I think that this is a very easy song for people who don't even necessarily care about hip-hop to like, because it's so damn catchy. I mean, the beat, first of all, just how it starts off, and they build, then they have the snapping, then it's just genius. I think from a production aspect alone, it's great. Then you get the chorus. I mean, the chorus is just perfect. I mean, it really is. It's just such a great song. And like I said, almost any time I played this song with any audience, I'm talking hip-hop heads, I'm talking my friends who don't like rap particularly all that much, and I'm talking about when I've just heard it played out, and I just noticed people's reaction to it, like whether they're stomping their feet, bobbing their head, like pointing at the speaker, like stuff like that. I noticed these things, and everyone, it's like universal acclaim with the song, and it's like I can't really add too much to that. It's just so excellent, and yeah, I love this song. It put me onto Digable Planets before I knew who Digable Planets were. That's my second pick.
That's not one of my picks. Rebirth of Slick.
I'm shocked. I'm actually genuinely shocked here.
Why?
I interrupted. Go ahead.
No, but why are you so shocked?
I thought this was like the one that's just up there, and it's just like the gimme pick. I
got you, and I do appreciate it and love it like everyone else does. But for me, I really liked Pacific's, aka New York is Red Hot, from the soundtrack of New York is Red Hot. And this one, it's just got that funk and that kind of when you would get into some funk and soul, when it gets a little dirty per se sonically, and I guess the guitar they sample on there and the different stuff, I just thought was amazing. And I Butterfly in particular, in his verse, maybe it's the Running Rebs, maybe it's the Knicks. Like, I just thought, I was like, wait, UNLV running Rebels and then the Knicks? Like, what is going on here? Anyway, I just musically, I always call it New York is Red Hot, even though it's called Pacifics. But New York is Red Hot, man. And I love the sample, the sound of it, and it felt like a lot of Digable Planets, it felt like a different time and a different era. And it sounded to me more like this song, at least musically, could have fit like in a blaxploitation film or something, or just from the 70s. But when Digable Planets is rapping over it, and Butterfly in particular is my favorite on the song, it's just I just think it's amazing. Like, it's just a weird combination of sounds and feels and tones that Pacifics, I just always remember loving this song and thinking it was just so cool in a way that cool like that obviously is Rebirth, but in a way that I gravitated to more because the commerciality of Rebirth is slick, cool like that. There's a lot there and I love it, but I also thought New York is Red Hot, aka Pacifics, is just, I don't know, man, just musically, it just really, I connected with that one so much. So that's my second pick. Amir, what's your third pick on Reachin by Digable Planets?
Last pick, Pacifics was actually really close. It's a really solid album, and I was also like maybe between nickel bags here, but I didn't pick nickel bags. But
That's a great one.
It's a great one. I'm gonna go with Jimmy Diggin' Cats. Jimmy Diggin' Cats is just. We were talking about the sonics of the album and the samples and all that, and how it was all produced within the group. But this one is one of my favorite beats on the album, and I think whenever I hear that the Summer Madness sample, it's just, I love that song. I actually need to buy that song like on vinyl. I need to find it, but anyways, I just love that sample, and I just love how they did it. And one thing that I also want to mention about this album, and its themes and concepts and like the words they use, it's an album that I still need to kind of go and listen to more and more, because there's some that I haven't fully grasped. But it's very interesting. Like this group really takes on their own style, and they're mentioning like swoon units and like just like how the Spidiox, and they're all named after like bugs. And then they have like, they mention Jupiter and Venus and like all these things that aren't traditionally in hip-hop songs, especially I feel like at this point. So I found that to be very interesting within the lyrics, and to kind of like, well, what are they talking about that's real? And then what are they talking about that's like just with the theme of the album? And that was always an interesting thing that I thought Digable Planets did. And I respect them for staying true to what they wanted to do. So that's one thing that I wanted to kind of also talk about before I finish. But Jimmy Diggin' Cats, man, it's just it's a song that I just really like the sonics of it a lot. I really enjoy the sample, and I think it's a fly song. It's pretty fly.
I'm with you on all that, Amir. Jimmy Diggin' Cats is not my third pick, though. My third pick is the most unusual song on here, which is La Femme Fatale. Or Fetal, I should say. Excuse me.
Fatale, maybe?
Yeah, it's Fetal.
It.
But it's Fatale, Fetal. It's a play off of what the song is about. Mm-hmm. And Butterfly on here, it's just a spoken word, but really him, I would say, more than spoken word, which I'd say, with Gil Scott-Heron or The Last Poets or The Watts Prophets, was much more to a beat and more sing-songy, flow-wise. La Femme Fatale, or Fetal, is him talking. And it's him talking a story about a woman that wants to get an abortion and all these complications. And here, like Amir was referencing on Where I'm From, with Marx, you get this talk about fascism and hypocrisy and the different laws and things. And he talks about Roe versus Wade, which of course in 2022 got overturned. And all of the hypocrisy that goes on with men telling women what to do with their bodies, and then also the legal system and all these different things. And I remember when I was first hearing this song that I was blown away because one, you know, Ice-T and Schoolie D and KRS-One had made songs where they just talked, or they had done similar types of things like this, but they had a little more flow to it. And when Ice-T, Schoolie D, and KRS-One were doing it, it was much more, I'd say, it was a very different thing, because this is tied into a particular story and current events in a way that I thought was different, because Ice-T did it on Rhyme Pays, you know, Schoolie D did it on Smoke Some Kill, but he redid a Dolomite song, and then KRS-One did it on BDP's second album, and that was still more of a social commentary thing like we get on the Femme Fetal. And the thing about it is, when we have these brilliant works of art like Reachin is, and comes out in 1993, and then in 2023 Amir and I are talking about it, and Roe vs. Wade has been overturned, this issue is still a hot button issue. This issue is still very divisive in the country, although what happened legally seems to be not what is the will of the general public. It's very, very, very interesting to have something like Reachin to act as a bit of a time capsule, and to see what at least Butterfly in particular was thinking about this controversial and very heavy topic back in 1993. So for that reason, it just always stuck with me, this song, and it was so different from Reachin because it was just Butterfly and he wasn't rapping. But you know, he still had his distinct vocabulary and how they were talking about, how he was talking about what was going on. Just very powerful to me. And I think, like Amir and I were saying with the Karl Marx references and the different things of getting these different perspectives, thinking, not just reacting, and not just being like what I believe is the only thing that could be true. When you listen to some of these different perspectives, I just think that's what helped draw me to rap and keeps me in rap so much, because it always makes me think about different things when I listen to it, and when it's done brilliantly as Digable Planets does throughout Reachin. So you got my 3 picks, you guys got Amir's 3 picks. As always, hit us in the comments section, let us know what you think. I'm Soren Baker,
Amir, Rahimi.
The Great Debaters, y'all, and thank you Digable Planets for this masterpiece.
In the beginning, hip-hop was ruled by the East Coast. Then the West Coast rose to prominence, thanks to gangster rap.
Straight out of Compton, crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube.
Hip-hop changed the world. Gangster rap changed the narrative.
I'm representing for the gangsters all across the world.
And then changed the world again.
Cause I'll come and take your life away.
The history of gangster rap features unheard stories, unseen photos and documents, all with exclusive interviews from the founders and players who shaped gangster rap.
I think a real gangster rapper has to scare you a little bit.
The history of gangster rap, written by veteran rap journalist Soren Baker. In stores now.
Yo, what up? This is DJ Quick. Be sure to pick up my homeboy Soren Baker's book, The History of Gangster Rap, if you really want to know what we do.